artifacts.
Da, da, da.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Wild Darkness. Today we're going to talk all about artifacts. So, what exactly are artifacts? Artifacts are the pinnacle of TWD engineering and technology. They are basically the best equipment you can get in this game. Obviously, artifacts are really rare, so the question is how can we get artifacts? One of the ways to get artifacts is by killing monsters, specifically boss monsters. Boss monsters have a small percentage to drop artifacts, and generally, you need to be really lucky to be able to get that kind of drops. Another way is to build it yourself. You'd need an artifact blueprint to do this. To get the blueprint, there are three ways. The first would be to unlock them through opening ruins. If you unlock artifact blueprints by opening ruins, these will be permanent and you can use them in any of your future runs. The second option would be to get it from drops. This includes cutting down bushes and killing monsters. Unlike with getting an actual artifact, you could get the artifact blueprints from small mobs such as rabbits. The drop chances are also very low, but it's possible. The third and final way to get artifact blueprints is to trade it from a merchant. Personally, this is the easiest way to get an artifact blueprint, but you have to remember that the artifact blueprints can only be sold by a meat cuisine exchange merchant. I forgot to add this on earlier, but you can actually there is another way of getting artifact blueprints or an artifact, and that's by using the Great Oracle Scroll. The Great Oracle Scroll has a variety of effects, including summoning equipment or summoning a drop, and that has a small chance of spawning an artifact or an artifact blueprint. But I'll not get into the scrolls for now. Moving on, now that we have our huge stockpile of artifacts, let's go ahead and use all of them. Okay, now that we have used all our blueprints, let's take a look at what we got. We got some cloaks, some shoes, some gloves, and a bunch of others, but I will not be bothering with them just now. Now that you know how to get an artifact blueprint, the next question is, how do you craft an artifact? So generally, when you're crafting artifacts, you will need at least 1 bar of silver, 1 bar of gold, and some other special material. For example, we have a lab coat here which costs 1 bar of silver, 1 bar of gold, and a golden heart. But we can also have things like the jungle hunter, which costs 2 bars of silver, 1 bar of gold, and 2 wolf teeth. The baseline is you will need 1 bar of silver and 1 bar of gold. Another thing you'll need is you'll need 2 source materials to be able to craft them. This means you're gonna sacrifice 2 weapons in order to build your artifact. Now, if you will notice, if I choose an artifact, let's say the Beast of Armageddon, it'll say that it's a two-handed sword with tier question mark. The reason behind this is that its tier will be determined by the base weapons it's made of. If you use 2 tier 3 weapons, it will get the average tier of the weapons you use to craft the artifact and give it a +1. The maximum tier you can get an artifact to is actually 6.5. But oddly enough, the only way to get an artifact to tier 6.5 is by combining 2 tier 6 artifacts. However, it's important to note that equipment such as boots, gloves, and cloaks, which do not have a tier, will always stay at tier 0. This means you cannot increase the artifact's tier any higher than tier 0. Now, the biggest question of them all. Obviously, materials for crafting artifacts are hard to come by and you definitely do not want to waste them. So, when is the best time to craft an artifact? And the correct answer is as soon as possible. That's right, you want to craft an artifact as soon as you can, which means as soon as you have the required stations to craft an artifact, you have the materials required to craft an artifact, you will want to craft it ASAP. Artifacts are the pinnacle of equipment, which means they are the strongest weapons in each tier. So if you have a tier 3 artifact, it is probably just as good as a tier 4 weapon. It will greatly assist you in surviving through a run, and some of its special effects can be life-saving. Of course, there are ways you can make your artifact even stronger. Now, one of them is to craft it with the perfect base materials. So I'm gonna demonstrate this by crafting a conceited garment. You can actually do this trick with any artifacts, including weapons and accessories. But I'm just gonna do the conceited garments because I really want a high-leveled conceited garment. Anyway, the first step would be to craft a bunch of trashy tier 1, whoops, tier 1 base material. Okay, now that I have a bunch of rugged leather vests, which is a tier 1 light armor, I'm just going to keep the ones that have a plus suffix with me. Oh, +2, that's pretty good. The rest of these rugged leather vests can go in. +1, pretty good. I don't want to trifle, I don't want to mess with a unidentified one, so there we have it. We have 5 pieces of rugged leather vests. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm obviously gonna select the one with the highest plus and use the magic equipment bench to transfer the pluses into this +2. It takes a crap ton of mana mode, so you want to do this on the +2s as much as possible. Unfortunately, I only have the one, so yeah. Okay, now we have a +5 leather vest. That's actually pretty trashy if you ask me, but just wait a bit. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take one of these normal leather vests and use a bunch of enhancement scrolls on it. So let's go for this one. That is not bad, a +3 and a +6. Okay, now that we have our base materials, we can finally craft our artifact. So to do this, we simply select the +6 vest and the +3 vest, and now we have our very own conceited garments. Identify it, +11. Heck yes! So there we have it. We have a +11 conceited garments. Now this isn't even the maximum tier. Technically, if I craft another conceited garments at +11, I can combine those two by crafting a new conceited garments out of the 2 conceited garments, and I could go all the way up to +100. Now you have to remember when you're combining two items with a suffix, with a suffix of plus more than 5, there is a chance that this suffix will drop instead. Now you might look at it and go, but wait, look at that light armor. It's only tier 1.5. That's so trashy. Well, don't worry. We can always upgrade our artifacts by using Crests of Transcendence. That's right. And the lower the tier of the artifact, the cheaper it is to upgrade them. So currently we have a tier 1.5 conceited garments. I saw that it needs some gold ore and some iron bars. Hopefully it won't ask for another gold ore because I really don't have other gold ores. Well, alright, let's do this. And blamo, we have a tier 2.5. Let's see if we can increase this some more. Oh, seriously, gold and silver ore? Sir, can I turn my gold bars and silver bars into ore? That would be really nice. I probably should not have burnt all my ore. But, well, yeah. So by using the Crest of Transcendence, we can, in all technicality, increase the tier all the way up to tier 6. And in the process of doing so, if you see this little one with an up arrow beside the tier, if this number hits 3, you'll get another +1 suffix, and once it hits 5, you'll get a +1 suffix again. Which means by the time I get this conceited garments to tier 6, it will be a +13. And if you would just kindly look at my captain's armor +7, it doesn't stand a chance against my conceited garments, even though it is 2 tiers higher. Now, a few words of reminder. I suggest prioritizing your weapon. The weapon is what will get you through the game. If you have a +12 weapon, it will carry you throughout the entire game. Another important thing to remember is that your artifacts can actually be completely destroyed by standing in fire or getting burnt. For example, I have a blessed talisman of ascension, which is obviously made of paper, and if I were to stand inside a campfire for long enough, there is a chance your accessory type artifacts will be burnt and it'll disappear completely. You can't even repair it. I think that's everything I want to cover for artifacts. Is there anything else? Well, if I miss anything, comment down below and I'll try to reply to all of your questions. And as always, till next time.